Hey there, folks, and big thanks goes out to the Waffle Hut for hosting this event for us for today. This is Coffee with the Candidates, and this is our chance for you to get to know all of the elected officials, everybody that's running for office. We're gonna sit down and talk with them all, and we're gonna find out what their priorities are. We're gonna find out what their missions are, because everybody comes into office with a plan of attack. And today we're gonna sit and talk with Sarah Dougherty, who is very, very welcome today. And we hope that you enjoy this interview. Now, without further ado, please let me introduce you to Sarah. Sarah, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Well, so without getting too far into this thing, what's your plan? Where are you going with this?
Yeah, so I started yesterday. I was sworn in by Judge Janney.
Okay.
So I'm officially a judge for Klamath County Circuit Court.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I guess kind of just to give viewers kind of a rundown, because it's very confusing, because people are like, oh, you're already done. You're a judge now.
There's a lot that people I don't think understand about the judicial process and how judges get into office and all this other, all that stuff. So if you could explain that a little bit, that would be helpful.
Yeah, so how the process worked was because a judge left in the middle of her term. It was appointed by the governor. There were 4 of us that put in. I was selected and appointed by Governor Kotek to fill this position, and then because we have an election coming up, then I run to maintain that seat. And, and it is a contested election.
And
here we go.
I have your contest is going to be coming later on today, so we're going to get you both in the same day.
Yeah.
So tell me, I mean, what are the major factors and features of the judicial arena here in Klamath County?
Insofar as like, what do we do?
Well, what do you do? What are your goals, your missions for the office?
I think one thing that I'm focused on and is very important to me is community safety. I live in this community. I am raising my small child in this community, and there's, I think, kind of a misconception at this point, because I came from private practice and primarily criminal defense, that means I'm super pro criminal defendant and I'm pro lawlessness, I guess. I don't know. And that's certainly not the case. I live here. I want to live in a safe community, and I certainly want to raise my child in a safe community. And so I think one thing that's really important to me in this role, and something that I worked on collaboratively prior to becoming a judge, is figuring out what to do about our jail space, because we have what we have, right? Like, but in a perfect world, would it be nice that the people that needed to be incarcerated were incarcerated and stayed incarcerated? Certainly, like if that's what was appropriate for those individuals. Unfortunately, our jail space is limited, which then limits the people that can stay in jail and who gets released regardless of what a court orders. So the jail does what's called a matrix, and so people get matrix because other people come in that have bigger cases, more serious cases, and so people are getting released from jail despite a judge's order. And so something that's really important to me is figuring out what we can do with that jail space, and then what we do to make sure that we're keeping the people in custody that need to stay in custody, and knowing that some people that have been sentenced or ordered to jail may not stay in jail, but how to appropriately serve punishment, knowing we might not have jail as a resource for those individuals. So coming up with different options, different creative community service, working with community partners on figuring out what other ways we can appropriately punish people or keep people, in line, essentially, given our limited jail space. So that's something that's important.
Are we specifically speaking about the Klamath County Jail?
Yes.
Are we talking about state prisons as well? Or,
Klamath County Jail.
Okay.
So once a person is sentenced to prison, they are part of all sorts of different programs, and the court is no longer involved for the most part, and so that's all up to the Department of Corrections. But talking about our local Klamath County Jail. Okay.
And so basically, it's some people are getting released every day, and it's because they're less dangerous of criminals, and we have more dangerous criminals that have to sit in prison. So we have to balance the needs of the community versus the space that we have.
And one thing that's particularly frustrating for the court, for people that live in the community, for law enforcement, is that people are then being released and they're racking up case after case after case, and that's frustrating. It's frustrating as a community member to see people, that come in and you're like, okay, I just saw you have police contact yesterday and here you are again and you're, maybe not acting conducive to how we would hope you would act as a citizen of our county. And so that is very frustrating. So then we're getting people with a ton of cases and they're not getting resolved because we can't get a kind of a hold on them essentially.
So basically, what can a judge do about that?
I think really trying to work with the community partners, the jail, and the jail is, in my opinion, great to work with. The people that work at the jail do a heck of a job. The people that run the jail are fantastic and want to do the best job they can. And so figuring out, I think having conversations and saying like, what can we do to make sure that we're keeping the people that need to be held, that people that, while we wish maybe they could stay in custody, can't, then how do we appropriately punish them, knowing we have limited jail space and that kind of thing.
Now, would that mean creating like halfway houses as well?
Well,
Maybe we could put them in home confinement. Is there
Sure.
There's so many different ways that you can attack this problem,
Right.
isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways, and obviously everything takes a resource, right? So we do have electronic home detention in Klamath, so home monitoring in Klamath. It's not used a ton, and so figuring out if there's ways that we can make it used more often. So those different things, more community service options. Sometimes it's hard for people to figure out when to do community service or how to do community service. So I think maybe opening up what constitutes community service also I think could be helpful.
Okay.
And I think connecting people to services they need to maybe get them to be able to remain law abiding.
Okay.
Right, because at the end of the day, that's the hope, is that people come before the court, their case is dealt with, whether it's criminal or not, and then they're able to go on and not have to appear before the court again.
What kind of services can get these people straightened up and flying right?
Mental health and substance abuse. When I was a criminal defense attorney and as a former prosecutor, so I've had the opportunity to be both almost for equal time. So I feel like in regards to the criminal world, I'm fairly well versed on what kind of both sides are looking at, things that are important to both sides. But I always said that if there was not mental health issues and not substance abuse issues, I'd only have a handful of clients. And we're so fortunate in Klamath to have the treatment services we have. We have such a core group of treatment providers that care so tremendously about the people that they serve, that they, go above and beyond every day to help these people. And we've seen a lot of success. I've personally seen a lot of success of people who have been those people that are the revolving door at the jail, and then we get them hooked, like something clicks, right? And sometimes you have to be ready to make those changes. But we get them hooked up with mental health services. We get them, clean and sober off drugs or alcohol or whatever their drug of choice is. And then luckily we don't have to see them again, because once they're kind of dialed in, they stay dialed in. But yeah, getting people connected to those services is...
And that all goes to Measure 110 and
right.
the fact that, drugs were legal here for a long time, and people are having historic patterns that they are following and everything like that. So...
But I cannot speak highly enough of the treatment providers we have in this county. They just are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Well, thank you for that. And I have to apologize because I introduced you as Sarah Dougherty, and I should have introduced you as Judge Sarah Dougherty. I apologize for that.
That's good. That's fine.
Well, all right. So what else is there to talk about judicial process and how can people avoid seeing you?
Yeah, and like I told you before, that I got to start today, I got to marry some people. So that was very fun. I was telling them, I'm like this is really the first thing I've done as a judge, and this is the best thing I could do as a judge.
Well, wonderful, yeah.
So I think something really important for people to understand too, especially in this particular race, is that there's a lot more to being a judge than the criminal world. We always hear about, half the shows on TV are about crime, right? And the judicial system and law and order and all those things. So judges do so much more. Today I was reading about evictions and how to go through those court processes. I watched restraining orders and going through those. Then this afternoon there's going to be some other family law cases that are going to be in front of the court. So there's so much more to the judiciary than just criminal law, and I think that's really important for people to realize. And
so you're going to have a Crayola box full of issues that you're not going to have the same issue 2 days in a row, will you?
Never, no.
Yeah.
And so it's learning, and it's the practice of law, I guess, you know. So yeah, there's a huge learning curve. I'm fortunate that having been in private practice for 5.5 years, that I did some family law, so I'm familiar with, you know, the language, the correct, you know, the petitioner and respondent versus plaintiff and defendant, like just all the different jargon. Did some family law, adoptions, traffic, a little bit of civil. So I come to it with a little bit more experience than having just been a prosecutor, which I'm thankful for, because there's a heck of a lot to know and a heck of a lot to being a judge.
I imagine so.
Yeah,
I imagine so.
It's kind of like drinking out of a fire hose, which is good. Like I am thankful, and we're super fortunate in Klamath. We have 4 other very experienced judges, and who have a variety of background experience. So it's been nice to be able to learn from them.
And you can rely on the other judges.
Yep.
and figure out, you know,
Yeah.
the best way to adjudicate a case and stuff like that.
Yeah, and also that's nice to kind of have, to be like, well, what would you do in this situation? Or I've been watching more and paying, you know, close attention to what the judge is doing versus, you know, as a defense attorney, I'm always kind of watching my client and making sure that we're good, but really paying attention to the judge and what the judge says, and then talking with the judges about, like, I think I would have ruled the same way you ruled, but why did you come to that decision, right? And hearing, you know, like, well, we got to look at these factors and this and that kind of thing. So it's really nice to have 4 other judges who are very well versed in the law, have done it. Judge Hedlund is the most recent judge to the bench, and I think he's been here 3 years now, so he has great experience already. So it's nice to have them to help me through it all.
Well, I was speaking with Kelly Minty the other day,
Yeah.
as you saw in the interview I did with her, and she was saying that this is a fascinating time to be in Klamath County and to be part of this process to determine the judges that are going to be sitting over cases and determine how this is all going to turn out. So she's watching your race fastidiously.
And I've never been a part of any of this type of process before. I graduated from law school, was a deputy DA in Curry County, so Gold Beach is the seat. Then I came here for 5 years, went into private practice, so this is my first time in politics and all the things. So I'm learning, and the community response has been great. It's been fun, stressful, but
I imagine it's very stressful.
Yeah, very stressful.
So in terms of campaigning, what's that going for? How's that looking like for you?
I mean, we're just trying to get out there. We have a pretty big social media presence, getting signs out. We've gone through a fair amount. We've got more on the way, and I'm just trying to get out there, get people to know me, get connected to people, doing some meet and greets we have coming up, things like that.
Now, tell me, do you have a lot of community connection sitting from the bench? I mean, a lot of times people, I think, just think that the judges sit in the courthouse and they don't really play in part of this community.
Yeah.
But I imagine because you live here and because you're part of this community, you have a vested interest in getting to be known in this community as well, right?
Correct, yeah. And my husband is born and raised here, so he has, you know, a huge community connection. He grew up out in Keno, and so it is, the judges do, you know, we have ethical obligations, and that make us, you know, have to be distant from a lot of things. But like I said, I've been a judge 2 days, so I do have a ton of community connections, because earlier this week I was not Judge Dougherty, and so really like I said, I do have a child in this community, and so we're super involved with all of her sports. She goes to school. Try to be actively involved in her school. When I was a defense attorney, I was very involved with the treatment programs, with helping my clients through those. I've established that big network of providers and friends, frankly, at this point. But yeah, trying to get out there to people that might not know me. Luckily, like I said, my husband's born and raised here, so he knows a ton of people.
So it's not a giant problem.
Yeah. But I have been here, it'll be 11 years this summer, so. And in that time, I really tried to integrate myself into this community. I lived here as a little kid for 2nd and 3rd grade, so this is my 2nd time in Klamath, and I don't see us going anywhere. So, yeah, I see we'll be here probably till the very end.
Well, and it's I feel bad for you for some reason because, I mean, you're going to see the worst parts
Right.
of Klamath
Sure.
County on a daily basis. And but you will get to see the weddings, and
Yep.
you'll get to see the
Adoptions.
adoptions. You get to see all those other things
Yeah.
as well. So it's not all horrible
No.
times from the bench.
No, it's not. And the nice thing is we have such a great bar here. The attorneys that practice in this community are fantastic. It is, for the most part, very cordial and nice. The attorneys want to do best by all of their clients, so whether it's, they represent individuals, they represent the state, everyone is trying their best they can. Everyone has, I think, a common purpose of, reaching resolution on cases, reaching fair outcomes for all the parties involved, and so that makes it helpful that we're not, and in other jurisdictions that are maybe less friendly, and I love practicing in Klamath County. I always tell people, they're like, do you want to go practice in another jurisdiction, or will you take a case over in this or that jurisdiction? I'm like, no. Like, I loved practicing in Klamath County, and I think I'll love being a judge here. Because, I mean, it's all the same people, and I know the common goal is
It's a tiny little community.
It is.
I mean, you
is.
see the same people over and over again, and it's a very cloistered kind of community, isn't it?
And I think we all realize, that we're all doing hard jobs, and we're all, dealing with really hard things that happen in the community. And I think the level of friendliness here makes it a bit easier to deal with, when you're not adding additional layers of stress kind of unnecessarily.
Yeah.
To an already stressful situation or an already ugly situation.
Well, and you practiced over in Gold Beach, you said.
Yeah.
You've practiced in much bigger communities than Klamath County. Is it nice to be part of a smaller community and get to see the same people, and you get to have a little more personal interaction with the defendants and certainly with the prosecutors?
Certainly, and you learn, I mean, all sorts of stuff about people, you get to be a part of the community with them as well. There's not like we all go home and we only see each other at the courthouse. It's like we see each other at events, all the things, our kids go to school together, or play on the same sports team, we go to the same dance studio. So yeah, it's a small, I like it. I grew up in Roseburg, and so the small town feel is
It's a little like Mayberry, isn't
I like it. I love it. I can't imagine.
You see Matlock walking down the street,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I love it. I love being here.
Well, thank you for being here today.
Yeah.
I don't have to take up a massive amount of your time.
I appreciate
This
it.
is a wonderful time for you to introduce yourself to the community. And thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And thank you for watching. And we're doing this all day today. I've got 2 more interviews to do today, and we're going to continue trying to meet all the candidates and get you to meet all the candidates through this program. So thank you so much for watching, and we will be back next time with a whole nother candidate. But thanks for watching, and you've watched Coffee with the Candidates, so thanks for watching. Bye-bye.